Some stories don't begin with heroes. They begin in the hush of summer, in the quiet spaces where a boy's heart waits for something to believe in. I'm Mr. Unprofessional, and this is Echoes of the Silver Screen. Tonight we step into a world first imagined by others, and carried forward through voice, memory, and heart. This is Episode 4. Secondhand Lions, where legends grow old. A shy boy, two wild, reckless old men, and a summer that taught them all that some stories are too true to ever fade. Welcome. Let's begin. Walter had known too many doorways that didn't stay open. He'd learned to pack his hopes small and light, something easy to leave behind. So when his mother left him at the farm, he didn't wait for promises. Didn't expect anything at all. The truck's rattle down the dirt road was the last sound she gave him. The farmhouse looked tired, porch boards sagging, windows dulled by years of dust. Hub and Garth didn't offer words of welcome. They watched him with eyes that had seen enough to know that words don't always mean much. Days moved slow, like the river that cut through the edge of the fields. Mornings tasted of warm bread and the sharp scent of hay. Evenings felt quiet, soft with the buzz of cicadas and the creak of old boards. Walter watched the way Garth's laughter sparked in the dust, the way Hub's silence felt like something solid. Not cold, but steady. At night, Garth would tell him stories. Not the small, easy kind. These were stories that felt too big for the quiet porch where they sat. He spoke of desert nights under a moon that burned like a silver coin, of caravans that stretched to the horizon and vanished with the dawn. He told of younger Hub, a man with fire in his bones and a sword in his hand, how he fought a duel at the edge of a forgotten kingdom, the sound of steel on steel, bright as starlight. There was always a woman, never named, but in Garth's voice she lived, eyes dark as storm clouds, a laugh that turned battlefields into something worth saving. Walter could see her there, waiting at a high window with the wind in her hair. The tales bent the night around them, soft and warm like the hush of summer. Walter listened, not because he believed every word, but because in these stories he heard the shape of something he'd never known. A place that wasn't just walls and a roof, but a reason to stand tall. And then he found it. He found the lion. It was early, the barn still half in shadow. The door creaked on its hinges as he stepped inside. She lay there in the straw, old and heavy-boned, her breath slow and deep, like the hush of the fields at dusk. Her fur was worn thin in places, eyes clouded but steady, watching him with a quiet patience that felt older than the world outside. Walter stopped, his heart drumming in his ears. For a moment, the stories Garth had told him didn't seem like fairy tales. They felt like memories, like the echo of a truth he couldn't name, but had always wanted to believe. He didn't move closer, didn't dare break the fragile line between them. He just stood there, letting the weight of it sink in. Not a rumor. Definitely not a game. It was real. In the days that followed, something shifted. The stories felt closer, less like dreams and more like a map. A way to find his place in a world that didn't always feel like it had room for him. The farm moved to its own rhythm. Hub and Garth let him be, but he felt their eyes on him. Not judging, just steady, like they were waiting to see if he'd stay. For a while it was enough. The world felt small and safe. A place where he could breathe deep and stand a little taller. But the world outside didn't stay away forever. One hot afternoon, he heard the sound of tires crunching down the drive. Dust rising behind the car that didn't belong. His mother was back. She stepped out of the car, her smile bright and hollow. The man beside her a slick confidence, a suit too sharp for the heat. A handshake that felt like it was already taking something. He talked about plans, big ones, about how the old men were sitting on a fortune they didn't know how to use. Walter heard the way his mother's voice softened when she looked at him. How she made the farm sound like a place he could leave behind. Like this was his chance to start fresh. To live the life she always said he deserved. The man chimed in with easy words. Words that dripped like honey, offering Walter a future that sounded bright and simple. He didn't say much. He didn't trust much either. But he watched the old men. How Hub's silence turned hard as stone. How Garth's laughter vanished, like he'd seen this kind of promise before. The days that followed felt like the air had grown tight around the farm. The man's voice was too smooth, all easy promises and half-truths. Walter kept to himself. But he felt the stories he'd been holding close slip a little. Like the hush of the barn had been cracked open, letting in the sharp edges of the world he thought he'd left behind. One morning, he found the lion dead. Her breath stilled, her eyes gone soft and empty. For a moment, the world felt too tight, like even the stories had run out of breath. But when he looked at Hub and Garth, he saw something that didn't break. They didn't flinch. They didn't fold under the man's smile. And Walter realized that the stories weren't just words. They were the way you chose to stand, even when the world said you were done. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. He chose them. Chose the laughter that lived in the cracks of the porch boards. The soft nights when the stories felt bigger than the stars. Chose the quiet weight of belonging that didn't need to be spoken out loud. Summer didn't end all at once. It slipped away in the long, slow hush of evenings and the gentle shadows of the fields. When the end came for Hub and Garth, it was gentle. No thunder, no final words. Just the last breath of summer and the quiet weight of lives lived on their own terms. Walter didn't bury them in the earth. He kept them close, in the stories they'd shared, in the steady way he stood. in the simple truth that some things are worth believing in, even if no one else does. If you stand out there where the fields turn gold in the light, you can still hear it. The hush of summer that never really left. The echo of laughter. The shape of something real and rare. Some stories don't end. They stay with us, quiet and true. And that's enough. Some stories don't end with the last page or the last breath. They live on in the quiet choices we make and the truths we carry in our bones. I'm Mr. Unprofessional, and this has been Echoes of the Silver Screen. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep remembering, and keep carrying the echoes forward.